Hi everyone, welcome to the Strength, Slump and Accountability Training. HyMix, together with Azzurri, are working towards best industry practice. Water control has been neglected for far too long. Excessive water can lead to detrimental effects in the short term and long term, especially for the strength. Each person is individually responsible to make sure the concrete goes in as designed and we achieve a high quality product in situ.
Water control is very important to Azzurri, but also to, I think, everyone out there in the industry.
The purpose of what we're doing with this training is working together with Azzurri. We're the major supplier to them as HyMix.
It's coming to the point now where we're finding it's very important to control the slumps once they hit site.
There's a huge disconnect in the industry. It's been understood and discussed between professionals, but no one's ever taken it to the concreters or the AG truck drivers or the concrete pumpers.
So trying to get the people on the ground to understand what we're trying to do is part of the process of controlling that water better.
It's no longer a guessing game of what people think it is. It's actually a measured item.
We're trying to achieve a 100-year lifetime product. By adding water, we're lowering the strength and the overall durability.
Moving forward, we are ensuring our quality is the best quality that you can find on the market.
It's critical that this simple component of slumps is controlled from start to finish.
It's essential that everybody understands the water-cement ratio is the driving factor for the concrete strength. Additions of water can affect that water-cement ratio, affecting the strength and other hosts of problems. Additions of water are allowed to achieve the design slump. Excessive additions of water to increase workability would not be accepted. When we design concrete, we have a water-cement ratio in mind, which means how much cement do we have, how much water are we going to add to that, what's the ratio.
Water cement ratio is a very important for designing any concrete for any strength or grade.
And there's particular parameters that you need to maintain within to ensure that the concrete actually reaches the requirement strength.
Generally, if we design it at 80 slump and it tests at that, we should achieve our maximum strength.
You can't take a concrete that's designed slumped of 80, 90 or 100 and increase it to 180, 190, 200 slump to assist with pumpability.
Now, if they want it at 160, we can still maintain that water cement ratio by design. So we don't lose strength, we don't increase shrinkage, we don't encounter any of the problems from diluting the product.
And if there are issues further on down the track, they're going to go through their records and determine who, when and why actually added the water.
Concrete is tested under compression at our NADA accredited facilities. Water additions on site can lead to low strengths. Low strengths can create delays, costs in time, and can be damaging to the reputations of HyMix and Azzurri. When a water cement ratio is being altered to a mix by adding water on site, generally the information is based on compressive testing cylinders.
Once the samples arrive on site, we put them into our temperature controlled tanks. We then do a compressive strength test on the cylinders. If they do fail, one of the biggest reasons is because the improper water control. That's water being added without it being measured at the plant. And that's where you get the water cement ratio coming out of line.
Once the truck rock ups on the hopper, before we start pumping, the pump operator and the AG driver, they can actually visually check the concrete.
And then that visual aspect will start to set in the mind, I guess, to see what 80 slump is or 100 or 120 really is. I believe the whole industry is just guessing what it is, and you know, it's easy to place concrete at the wetter slumps, but yeah, it's not what we're about.
So if the concrete is very dry, there is a process and procedure that we need to follow to ensure that it gets back to within tolerance of what the customer requires and what the pump operator requires, instead of just opening up the tap and adding water to the concrete and not re-measuring it or re-slumping it. to ensure that we are still within specifications.
The consequences of excessive water additions on site can lead to short-term delays to our projects. The long-term effects of the concrete building in situ can be quite disastrous. Recent events have shown us this, and the reputations to the industry and those involved can be damaged.
Well, the consequences just in the day itself alone, on the day, is the amount of overtime that the guys have to hang around to complete their works to actually achieve the finish that the builder requires.
It can cause segregation and bleeding on the concrete. It will affect the finishing.
So if they mess with the water cement ratio by adding water, then a 40 MPa mix might go 35 or 38, and that means they can't do the next floor or the next floor. They can't structurally load those columns or walls or decks with more concrete because they haven't met the design.
If concrete's not going to reach strength in time when the builder needs it, it's going to place delay on the project for it to reach strength, and sometimes it might not even reach the strength it needs to.
Which then it can lead to technical people having to go do non-destructive testing or site investigations.
Yeah, I mean, this could cost into hundreds of thousands. I mean, if concrete needs to be removed because it hasn't reached strength, it's going to cost big time.
We all need to take responsibility to make sure water control is done properly. There's no more excuses. We can only add water when trying to achieve the design slump. Azzurri, together with HyMix, will be making everyone accountable for water additions on site.
Every employee that's gone through this course have to understand the importance of water ratio. You will be held accountable if you fail to do this.
The reason why they need to care is because they need to look at the bigger picture.
You're affecting people's lives if buildings aren't done properly.
These are high-rise, multi-residential buildings that people live in, and I certainly wouldn't want my name on it if one of those fell down one day. As leaders in the concrete industry, Azzurri, together with HyMix, will be working together to implement best practice. Our commitment to this quality will see us at the front of a strong industry.
This is going to take the Azzurri and the HyMix partnership to the next level.
We talked to HyMix at the early stage of the projects, engineered the slumps to be at the higher end of the spectrum.
We're going to deliver a better product, and we're going to have happier end users, and we're going to have happier customers.
Once the product gets to site, it's the designed concrete slump that goes in there. It's not a made up one. It's not one that comes out of the back of the hose of the truck.
It's about educating our people so they understand what they're doing out there, and it's no longer a guessing game.
Pushing the boundaries of water additions, Azzurri want to see that that's not the way anymore.
Slumps, strengths, accountabilities, that's what it's about for us going forward.
Azzurri's name's on that building, our name's on that building, and we want those to stand the test of time. At the completion of this training, you should have a strong understanding between the relationship of strength and slump, and your accountability for water control on site. HyMix, together with Azzurri, are committed to the understanding of water control as we move forward in the market, as we work together to build Australia's future.